Two natural resources districts have proposed irrigation changes to the Platte River that could help provide water for recreation and endangered species. But the plan would change how farmers supply water to their crops. UNL Extension Ag and Water Law Specialist Dave Aiken says the plan could work, but it's far from finished.
Well, the state of Nebraska is under a legal obligation to provide new water in the Platte River to meet endangered species requirements. And us water folks have all thought that the only way you could do that would be to take water away from irrigators and drying up irrigated land in the process. But now two natural resource districts have come up with a proposal that would maintain existing irrigation and provide a large amount of water back to the system for endangered species. So it's kind of having our cake and eating it too.
So they're finding the water, but they're not using surface water. They're going to use groundwater. So there's a difference there. You got to pump the groundwater. Where does the money come from to build that infrastructure that's not already there? That's
right. This is a big proposal. A lot of irrigators would go from using surface water from Lake McConaughey. They would basically give up that surface water and go to wells instead. And they're talking between 400 and 450 irrigation wells and center pivot systems. So that's, you know, $45 million. That's a lot of money, right. And a lot of irrigation wells, and a big change in irrigation practices from surface water irrigation to groundwater irrigation.
That big bill, who pays the price for it? Who picks up the tab?
Well, the NRDs are proposing to pay part of it, and whether it's a big part or a little part or a medium-sized part is kind of to be determined. But that's, I think, is a lot of what the negotiating will be about. How much of this bill will the NRDs pick up? Let's talk about the water itself. First, the surface water. Where is all the saved surface water that you're going to save in this plan? Where does it go? How is it going to be used? Okay. The water that is saved would be used to leave more water in Lake McConaughey during the summer so that it's there for recreation, and which is it. And Lake McConaughey is a big tourist draw in the summertime, so that would be part of it. And then part of it would go to endangered species, in the spring or in the fall when they need it for the, when the birds are migrating or something like that. So, and it would also help use to generate hydropower. So, there's a lot of different uses that could be enhanced if this proposal is successful. The groundwater that would be used obviously needs to be recharged. How do you recharge that then? Because that's another concern. That's a big concern. And the groundwater basically came from, the water from Lake McConaughey shooting down these canals, which are largely unlined, and it's, fairly sandy soil, so a lot of the water leaks out. In fact, to deliver 1 unit of water to a farmer in the Tri-County system, I might have to release 2 or 3 units of water from Lake McConaughey. So a lot of that water is lost before it gets to the farmer. And it's not totally lost. It ends up, going into the groundwater, and that's for as a recharge. And that's what they would look at now. Now the farmers would pump the groundwater, but then it would be recharged. They just don't have to worry about recharging it during the summertime when the demands on the water are the highest. They can recharge it in the winter or in the fall or maybe even in the spring, when it's available and there's not as much demand for it. In the off-season, essentially, that's from right. Irrigation. What's the legality of this? Well, there would be some significant water right changes that would have to be approved by the state, and there'll be a lot of technical work that needs to be done in order to justify these water right changes. Change the surface water rights from direct irrigation from the storage water to converting that water to a groundwater recharge water right. But we have the laws set up to do that, but it would be a significant process to work through. The big question: does the plan work? Well, we don't have all the engineering details yet, and there are probably more technical studies that need to be done. But conceptually, it should work. And the question is whether or what it will take to get the irrigators in the Tri-County district to switch from that Lake McConaughey water to the groundwater. Their biggest concern with that would be? Well, losing their water rights, and then, how much of this am I going to have to pay? Am I have to pay for the well and pivot myself? I mean, I'm already irrigated. Why should I pay double, in essence, to be irrigated? But is the NRD going to pick up the whole tab? Probably not. So somewhere in between. There's a dance to be done. That's right, and this will be a multi-year process, even if everything goes well. The districts will make a presentation to public power irrigators on the 22nd, but as Aiken says, the plan will take time to complete.